Hello everyone, welcome to William and the Magic Box. Today on our show, you're going to have James. James is from Minneapolis in Minnesota in the USA. So let's see what James has to say. Enjoy the interview.
Morning.
Hello James, good morning. How
Good
are
evening
you?
for you. How are you?
I'm very well. Thanks so much for taking the time today for the interview. Thank you.
Of course. I'm excited.
So tell me, how's your morning going so far?
It's going well. I'm actually dog sitting right now. So if you hear four dogs barking in the background, that's what's going on. So
Oh my God, that's amazing. Lucky
yeah.
you.
Oh yeah. Well, or stupid me, but
Do you look after them very often or not?
they're my sister's and her husband's dogs. So when they go out of town, I watch them because I work remotely, so I can be anywhere and it's easy for me to just come and watch them. So I maybe do it once every other month for them.
Okay, and what their names, the dogs?
They are Jack, he's a husky. Alfie, he's an Aussie Shepherd mix, and then they have two labs, Luna and Callie. They, I
Oh,
don't know why anyone has four dogs, but they do. So
how about yourself? Do you have any pets or not?
I don't at the moment because I have enough family that has pets. My parents have two dogs, my sister has four, and everyone else I know has them. So that's good enough for me right now.
I think that's why they ask you to look after them because they know you don't have any pets.
Yes, it's easy for me to uh, come and go, which I like. I think right now I want to be the only living thing I'm responsible for every day. So
So tell me, where are you from, James?
I am from Minneapolis, Minnesota,
Hmm.
Midwest United States. Um, I'm born in this area originally. Um, I've been here most of my life. We get nice four seasons.
Wow.
This winter we haven't really got much of one. We haven't gotten a lot of snow because it's been extraordinarily warm, but I'm not complaining about that.
And tell me, what's the postcard of Minneapolis? Tell me if I'll come to Minneapolis for the first time, what's something that I cannot miss it? I should go and visit.
Mall of America is here. That's a big touristy place to go. It's this huge mall. It's kind of unique to us, and anyone who comes here for the first time, that's one of the first places that they go to.
I see. And Minneapolis, I think you're trying to, some dog that arrived, you're trying to hold them.
Yeah.
And what do you do for work, James, for living?
I so for the last 7 years, I work for the local county, the government that I live in, Washington County, and I have done um, economic assistance and child support enforcement. So helping families get money from absent parents into their household so they can meet their basic needs and
Wow.
take care of their kids.
So walk me through a little bit about your job, your daily base. What's the thing that you look into it?
So day to day, what I'm doing is collecting m monies either through garnishment or an administrative intercept,
Hmm.
uh, deciding what actions I have to take for non-payment, like suspending someone's license, taking a tax return, deciding if I have to initiate a legal action for contempt. A lot of locate because we do have some, unfortunately, that try to not live up to their responsibility. We have to track them down. Um, and then a lot of the time is answering calls, giving status updates. Uh,
Hmm.
in the role I've been in now for the past 2 years, I work with a lot of other agencies in other states. So when
Okay.
we have someone who lives somewhere else, we ask other states for help, and then other states will ask us for help to collect and enforce for them too. So a lot of calls, a lot of um, interagency and external agency collaboration, which is great because I have always loved working with people.
Wow.
Um, and this job, I get to work with people from almost every socioeconomic background and walk of life, and it's very interesting to me. It's never dull.
Amazing, amazing. Okay, so during the journey, I'm going to explore a little bit more about your life and also about your point of views, okay?
Sure.
So before we start our journey within the Magic Box, I would like you to tell me something interesting about yourself.
Something interesting about me is, uh, even though I've lived here most of my life, as from about between the age of 10 and 17, we moved probably about 7 or 8 times to different areas. So I've lived on the East Coast, the West Coast, in the South, up north here in the United States.
Wow.
Um, and it was at the time, I think I didn't like it, but as I get older, I've found that it's served me very well because I'm not uncomfortable or shy around really anyone. So it's made me a people person because when you're the new kid all the time, you have to really get rid of those fears and anxieties and introduce yourself and try to fit in and make friends.
That's amazing. And why did you have this experience growing up?
Um, you know, my dad, we had lived up here in this area for the first 10 years of my life, and my dad had a job that took him away a lot from us.
Okay.
And he decided he didn't want to miss a lot of our lives anymore, and he just wanted to be more present. He didn't want to be away as much, and he didn't want to be tired when he was home. So when I was about 10 or 11 years old, he decided to leave that job, and my parents sort of couldn't really decide where they wanted to be. We ended up moving a lot where there was other family around. So on the East Coast, we had my mom's family in Southern California. Her parents lived there. We lived in Henderson, Nevada, which is just right outside Las Vegas,
Wow.
um, Colorado. So I think it was just them deciding where they wanted to be. Um, and it, and like I said before, it took me a long time to realize the benefit of that experience
Mhm.
and let go of like the resentment that maybe I had from it, because for a while I felt like I never had any kind of foundation or um like roots or like a home base that um I could look back on and say, oh yeah, that's where I'm from and my life experience are all based there. But now I can look back and say, you know what, I've had all different types of experiences everywhere. So it's
That's
like I said, the older I get, the more of a positive it becomes.
interesting. I had no long ago a lovely man who also had the same experience as well, and he was sharing that in the beginning it was quite difficult for him. He was bullied, because, as you said, he was always the new kid, the new in the school,
Mhm.
and they were picking on him. And now he's grateful as well for that, because the knowledge that he had and the whole experience is just a plus right now. And it's
Yeah.
interesting because you just realize that afterwards, yeah, when you grow up and you understand that, my God, I've been introduced to so many different ways of living, different cultures somehow,
Mhm.
and it's, I think it's just something positive about it. Of course, it's not easy going through that,
No, but it
but
definitely makes you more resilient and it makes
yeah,
you
yeah,
strong, because you have to be. You have to learn to let go of those fears and anxieties, and those you have to deal with rejection too. And that's a good lesson I think for all of us to learn, because rejection is just a part of life and it's not going anywhere.
absolutely. James, are you ready to go on a beautiful journey through your memories in life and share your point of views?
Uh-huh.
Amazing.
Yes.
Welcome to Billion and the Magic Box.
Okay.
So this my magic box full of random fun questions, okay? I'm just gonna play a song now just for us to relax before the
Okay.
first question, okay?
Perfect.
Let's do it. Okay, so before we start the game, during the join, if it comes up a question that you don't want to talk about for some reason, you don't want to answer, always can change, okay?
Okay.
Okay, first question for you is, who is a celebrity you admire and why?
A celebrity I admire. I've always admired people who stay true to their convictions and don't like wet bandwagon hop or change their point of view just because it's the popular opinion. I think for me, one example that comes to mind about that is like J.K. Rowling, because she has had a lot of pushback and about her comments about the trans community, and I think we're all entitled to our own opinions, but at the end of the day, it doesn't take away from the work that someone's created or the things that they've done. And I can appreciate, like I said, someone who sticks to their convictions and doesn't just follow the status quo just to stay popular.
So yes, I think James, it's so interesting. People, when we admire people, when there's people there, somehow artists or people doing some job that connects with us, and we, depending our community or where we stand for, there's some connection there, and somehow we admire them because of that. That's how I see as well. And sometimes they even don't know, what I mean, the impact they're giving, to our lives, and it just can happen like that naturally, genuinely. Okay. Ready for another one?
Yeah,
let's
bring it on.
Next question. Hey, next question for you is, who makes you laugh the most?
My dad. My humor, I know I got from him, and he's just always been able to find the humor or the laughter in any situation, and that's something I think he's passed on to me. And he's just so quick-witted that he just comes up with things off the fly, and no matter who he's talking to, he's just so confident in the way he says it, which even makes it more funny. And one of his jokes that one of his quick-witted things that he's always said that's always made me laugh, and he'll be talking or BSing with friends, and how guys sometimes will joke about their wives or something, and or so they'll be talking about something about money, or that somebody wants to go do something but they have to wait to afford it. So one of the things that he has always said is, he tells guys, like, it's a lazy man that can't get his wife a second job.
Don't believe that.
So I mean, just things like that he said my whole life, and it's always in good spirit, and it's never meant to be offensive or anything, but those are just one of the things that I admire most about him, is that he can always find the humor, or is always lifting people's spirits up, and that's something that I think that I can do, and hopefully that's something that I can continue to do that I've gotten from him. So.
And what's the biggest difference between both of you?
The biggest difference between us is my dad is a big conflict avoider. He doesn't like to fight with people. He doesn't like to argue, and he doesn't like to say hurtful things to people. I am a conflict engager. I like to, well, not that I like to be in conflict with people, but I don't mince words. I try to be upfront with people. When something's bothering me, I tell them. So I think that's one of the biggest differences between us, is that he doesn't like conflict, but he can be confrontational if he has to, if he needs to confront someone. But he is it takes him a while to get to that point, whereas I'm just ready to go to battle.
When was the last time that you've been in one of the situations that you're trying to, express your point of view or standing up for something that you believe?
A lot of it comes up at work, a lot. And, right now there's a big push in public works and public service to make services and things that we've always done more equitable and inclusive, and approachable and accessible for everyone, especially marginalized groups, persons of color. Um, and I think one of the things that I have to maybe be a little bit more boisterous about is making sure that we are realizing that a lot of the voices that are in there making the decisions are not representing of the people we're trying to reach. So making sure that we're always looking for that perspective and getting that perspective from the people we're trying to um, make comfortable approaching us and utilizing these services, because still we have um, a lot of people in the room are still white, who don't have those experiences of having to be uh, a minority person or a person of color who has to go and utilize those services. So um, I recently did with the state of Minnesota a big project to update some statutory language on how we suspend people's driver's licenses. And a lot of those discussions were about how much that inhibits people who are trying to find work, because a lot of jobs won't hire you if you don't have a valid license. So bringing up those barriers for people who depend on their license, because not everyone can have a job where it's remote, where not everyone, people have to travel for work or work in a field that requires them to move about quite a bit. So I think just this is a really long-winded answer, sorry, but I think it's just keeping the actual reality of people's situations when you're making those kind of policies. And that's the thing that I get very passionate about and boisterous about, is when that might be being forgotten or not fully thought of in the process.
Amazing. Okay, I would like to see your debate one day. Debating. Amazing. Next question, James. Let's do it. So before the next question, tell me, growing up as a gay boy, I believe you are part of LGBTQ plus community,
Yes.
Yeah? So tell me your experience, because as you mentioned in the beginning, you're traveling to different places, you're growing up in different ways, different people, always someone new, always a new school, always some new people to connect with.
Mm-hmm.
Also being part of, being a gay boy at the time still. How was your experience, if you can share?
It took me a long time, I think, to really not only accept, but to really be comfortable expressing that part of myself. Because I think one of the first things that happens when I would move around is that I'm in survival mode, and I'm like, okay, what can I not do that's going to make people not want to approach me or set me apart, that makes people think that I am just like them or that I'm someone that they want to know. So I think that added to the part of me, and maybe a part of all of us, that seeks refuge and it safeguards that part of ourselves, because we don't know what revealing that or embracing that publicly, especially in our formative years in middle school and high school, what the result's going to be. So I think that's one of the things I would attest as like a negative part of it, is that it maybe kept me in the dark about myself and hiding part of myself longer than maybe I would have if I would have stayed in one place.
I see. Okay. Next question is, what was your favorite part about school?
Summer vacation. No, my favorite part of school was I loved history classes. I've always been a big history person. I like learning about the past. I like learning how people used to think, what changed, what points of view changed, big events that changed the way we would look at the world. And so history and literature were always big favorites of mine. So I always enjoyed those subjects. And I think the other part, though, was of moving a lot, was that I didn't get to join like clubs or groups that let me explore those passions more. So maybe maybe why it's hard too for me to think of like what was a favorite part of school, because I had to change school so much.
Mhm.
I didn't really get the chance until settle and to figure out the things that I really liked or wanted to do, because I was always having to hit the restart button and find new groups, new people. And sometimes the group that I maybe hung out with or who liked the certain things in one area was not the people that I gravitated to in the next place that we ended up. So,
Wow, I'm just putting myself now in your shoes at the time. It must be very difficult for you. Can you imagine when you start somehow settling yourself in a group or
mhm,
in a place, and suddenly a new place just come along.
yeah.
I'm sure it wasn't easy. And now the way you talk now, I'm putting myself in the same situation. I'm sure it wasn't easy journey for you. But again, now you are grateful for that. But oh my
Mhm.
God, growing up and also dealing with your own, sexuality, things that
Yes.
you are changing yourself. You are growing up.
Mhm.
There are so many
Mhm.
questions, and also on top of that, you need to deal with that things as well.
Right. And
So,
then on top of that, dealing with, um, not just how I would fit into the general public or meeting friends, but still even dealing how I would fit in with my own family. I mean, one of the things I'll tell you that I was really hesitant about was because I mean, I'm out to my family and I'm out to the people who are important in my life.
mhm.
Um, but I have never done anything like this where I have publicly like as comfortably I just said, yes, I'm a gay man and I'm part of the, you know, LGBTQ community. So I was hesitant to do this because I was so afraid, oh, who sees this? Who does that or whatever. But then I realized, you know what? This is a band. This is the time to rip the band-aid off and just let it be out there, no matter what may, because you can't live your full truth and live your full life wholly if you're still feeling like you're hiding. So I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna do it and see what happens.
Oh my God! I'm so grateful for you to
Yeah.
to trust the show, to trust
Mhm.
the experience, and it's amazing, James. And actually makes sense now because when we've been talking for a while, and now I
Mhm.
understand why,
Yeah.
So thank
So
you, God. Thanks for for trusting the show, trusting
yeah.
me, and to be able to talk so open now. Actually, you're
Well,
talking to
thanks
the
for your
whole world.
patience
No, you are talking
for
to the
not
whole
giving up on
world.
me.
I can see now the whole world clapping to you right now.
Oh,
Just like open up.
yeah.
Thank you so much. I mean it. Like, thanks so
Yeah.
much for you to be able to trust the
Yeah.
show and also trust me to open up about that. I feel
Mhm.
special now.
No, well, thank you for creating a very comfortable and
Thank you.
very safe feeling platform for me to do that. So
Amazing. Okay, it took so long. Now you open up for the whole world right now. You know what? Let's come big now. Let's be talk. No, open up to the whole world right now. Why not?
Yep.
Next question. Okay, next question is, tell me something that you can't live without.
This is a really corny answer, but my family, my immediate family, my parents, my siblings, we are very close. And even my extended family, my especially my mom's family is a big all Greek family, and we are very involved in each other's lives happily, and very close. And I honestly can't imagine being in another family dynamic than that one, because it, I feel like they bring so much to my life, and I think it's mutual. It goes both ways. That um yeah, I just couldn't imagine being in anybody's family, and even going through the coming out process with them. Um, as hard as it was, the way it came about was difficult, but the aftermath of it was, I think, one of the rarer and more positive experience than a lot of people get. So for that, I'm always thankful and grateful. One of the reasons I'm thankful and grateful to be born into the family that I was born into.
And which person in your family you feel more? I'm sure you have, connection with all of them. Our family, we have people that we talk about this, we talk about that, we open up about this. But there is someone in your family that you feel very like connected with, someone that you go like, it's the one.
Yeah, I would say it's probably my mom. She and I are very similar personality wise. We're very upfront, very honest. Um, and from her, like I said earlier, from my father, I feel like from him I got his humor and also his very strong work ethic, and his care for putting others before himself. And my mom too, but my mom has a very she's very open and she's has a very strong passion for life. And I my whole life that I've known her, I've never seen her be shy or run away from a challenge, and she is very um, strong and very bold and unafraid. And I think that's hopefully I like to think is a quality that I've inherited from her too. And yeah, she and I are probably the most similar of my family. And my sister, I think, is very much like my father. She is very those two are very connected because they both are um not, when I say sensitive, not sensitive in a bad way, but very um empathetic. And they also the two of them are always putting others before themselves, which has its positives and negatives. But I would say those two are more similar, and that my dad is maybe the person that she's connected to most. Well, it's probably her husband now because she recently got married first. But
It's interesting you saying that about your sister. Is more her personality is more similar to your dad, and you more similar to your mom. And it's quite interesting because for me, my sister as well, she's exactly like my dad. It's funny because I was talking to her this week, and I was discussing something with her. I felt like I was talking to my dad. I was like,
mhm,
my God, how your personalities can be so similar? Literally,
yes.
I told her, my goodness, you are so stubborn that I feel like I'm talking to my dad right now.
Mhm. Yeah, I think for her and my sister, it's very mixed. She can be very much like my mom at times,
Yeah.
the very matriarchal, caring, thinks she needs to be in charge and running the show. But like I said, a lot of the time she's like my dad. Um, she likes to enjoy being the quietness of being home.
Mhm.
She likes her one-on-one time with the people who are important to her. No, go lay down. You're fine. Uh, and so yeah, so sorry, I lost my train of thought because I have this little fur child here that's picking at
It's
me
okay.
and
It's
this little
fine.
thing. Go lay
James, I have three questions left. Okay, let's do
down. Okay.
it. Hey, James from Minneapolis in the USA. Right, next question is tell us a funny story or a moment. My God, so interesting. All the questions are come to you. It's about school for some reason. Anyway, tell us a funny story or a moment that happened to you when you were a child at school.
Um, so senior year of high school, like I said, I was finally back home with the people who I had known most of, like grown up with mostly. Um, the One of the best times was we had for our graduation, it was a senior lock-in. So they locked us in the high school all night and we had this big overnight graduation party, and we were
Wow.
just running around the school, and we had like a little makeshift casino that they had made for us. We were playing for prizes, and there was a hypnotist there, and a raffle, and it was just a fun night. It was a nice way to end that part of my life. And I
Wow.
think for all of us too. So
Wow. Like a big brother night.
yeah. Yeah, it was fun. I mean, we got locked in at about 6:37, and then they didn't let us out until 7 a.m. the next morning. So
Oh, it's a great idea. Actually, I like that. Actually, I love that. I think it's
yeah.
such a great way for you to finish like this a journey of your life in this,
Mhm.
having to be able to be in this situation. That's
Mhm.
amazing.
And
Wow.
I think the other part of it was that they just didn't want everybody to graduate and then go off and like go sneak and get drunk that night. So I
Because
think that was the other motivation behind it, but mostly for a nice send off for the senior class. So
amazing. Two questions left. Let's do
okay.
it. Next question is, what is your spirit animal?
I'm gonna say a dolphin because I love the water, I love the beach, and I feel like I'm always on the go and I have like that energy where I'm like flipper just diving into things and you know kind of gotten to a point in my life where I'm unafraid of like I'm like not letting fear of the unknown stop me like doing this.
Mhm.
Um so yeah, I think that because I love the water. I'm a Pisces. I've always loved the water. The beach is my happy place, so that I'm gonna say a dolphin.
Wow. So I believe your birthday is very soon then.
Yeah, March 13th.
My mom is March 9th of March, my mom.
Oh, oh,
Yeah.
my dad is March 8th. So it's funny because we're literally we always sometimes we'll do things together. We'll go out to dinner, I'll try to go home so we can celebrate our birthdays together. So we have a lot of March birthdays in my family.
Wow. Ready for the last question?
Yeah,
Let's do it. Next
let's do it.
question. Right, before the last question, I'm gonna ask a question in two parts, yeah? Um, one related to your job and one related to your experience growing up, moving places and states
Mhm.
and cities. Back to your childhood, tell me a situation that you realized that you go like, you know what, I never thought about that, something different that of your usual, growing up or being raised, something different of people, maybe habits or something that you saw that, oh my God, that's so different that from my normal, back to your bring up. And the other part of the question is, you mentioned about your job, how much you enjoy it, how much you appreciate, but what do you find most challenging?
So I'll start with the job portion. The thing that I find most challenging is that, and I think anyone who works in public service or any kind of government job can relate to this, is that how slow it takes to implement any kind of change and how as determined and as energetic you are about starting a new process or project or trying to implement something, it can sometimes be defeating the red tape and the barriers that are just ingrained in the system to make it as difficult as possible to do. Um, I think one of the things that, so the childhood question was something like about my upbringing that
Difference that you,
something I've seen somewhere else that I was like, oh, you know what? I never thought of that. Okay.
yeah,
I think one of the biggest things was, and I had seen a lot of this, and it wasn't until I was a adult that I really thought about this was, my family, my parents are married. They've been married for 35 years. I grew up in a very, for the most part, positive, happy environment and with a very strong family ties. So as I grew up and I met people who would say things like, oh, I don't speak to my parents, or I don't speak to my sibling, or I don't have any communication with them. And, especially with parents, I was like, how do you not talk to your mom or dad? Because I have to talk to mine every day. It's just, and it took me kind of, I don't know, embarrassingly, I think I would say now, how long it took me to realize that my experience was not everyone else's experience.
mhm,
And there are good reasons why people choose to, for whatever reason, cut people out of their lives or say, you know what, you're allowed this much into my life, and that's about as much as I'm going to go, or not at all. And I think realizing that my point of view is not, because I would be that person like, oh, well, you should give them another chance, or you should talk to your mom, or because for me,
Right.
it's like, let me repair this broken whatever. And but sometimes it's broken and not fixable, and for good reason. And I had to
Mhm.
a good friend, a coworker, kind of really opened my eyes about that, because she um, is one of those people who has no relationship with her father. Her father left many years ago, divorced her mom, and really had not a lot to do with her life. And she would talk about it, and I would say things like, well, like, are you not going to do this with your dad, or are you not going to invite your dad to your wedding? And very calmly and respectfully, she's like, why is it so important to, like, why is it important to you whether or not my dad is there? And I said, well, why wouldn't you want your dad there? And she,
Mhm.
explained to me why. And
Absolutely.
it was like, you know what? This is my aha moment.
I
So,
love that. I love that. And it makes so sense because it came from a good place from you because you wanted, you wanted this. I got goosebumps now because it comes from a good place. You just want to see this magical, beautiful thing that you've
yeah.
been raised to. You've been
Yeah.
raised. I'm gonna share a personal event with you. Family can make me cry. When I talk about family, can make me cry because
Mhm.
it's very, for me, it's very powerful. But growing up, and again, back to the same situation as you, I wouldn't change anything about because everything makes the person you are. And I'm so
Mhm.
grateful for my past, everything with the up and downs,
Right.
but family, for example, I never had a situation where my parents, like you, like exactly the opposite, yeah, and I understand as well. So I remember my parents; they never had this way of showing love or hugging or kissing. You know what I mean? My mom's used to do like I remember going to bed. My dad, he was always very busy and he didn't have this. My parents, they're very young, so they, you know what I mean. When I've been raised with very young parents, so and now looking back, I understand they were very young. They didn't know how to be parents. They were not ready for parenting. When I
Sure.
look back. So the point is, I remember growing up, I was maybe 13 or 14. A good friend of mine, he invited me to go for lunch in his family, his place, and he was so close to his dad that literally he was walking down the street holding his dad's hand, and I was already like, oh my god, I never seen that before. And when we got to his place, he literally sat down in his dad's lap, and his dad like kind of hugged him from behind, and he kissed him. I'm talking to you, I can see the scene now because for me it was like, oh my god, I never seen that before. Like I never seen like a son dad, like the way he was sitting in his lap and he was like hug him and tell him how much he loved him. I was like, oh my god, that's awesome. I remember the moment and I felt so strange. As you said, I'd wake
It was such a foreign thing to you, so out of
absolutely.
your norm. Yeah.
Absolutely, and I'm glad that happened. That's when I started to realize the difference between families and things. And again, I wouldn't change anything, because I'm so happy the way I am right now and the
Mhm.
way I express myself. But however, if I, for example, if I would change or if next life, I would love to have like you. I'd love to have my parents, that I could talk and share, and I could, be open about anything. And again, I love my parents. We are connected
Mhm.
as well in a such different way, but I understand now a lot of things that I could understand growing up, and I
Right.
think this parenting, affection or makes a difference. Sometimes again it can go different ways. Some people they feel very attached to their parents because of that, and they cannot like move on, they cannot leave and do their things. So
Right.
I'm grateful that I've been raised in this way because somehow I feel the happy where I am and how I am and the way I feel about myself. So yeah, I understand. And again, back to your friends, those moments, that's when you understand more about life and you understand more and you become more open-minded and understanding as well, because the world's not that what you think that's okay, that should be or that's how it is. Because of different circumstances, experiences can go in a different direction, and it's
Mhm.
not right or wrong, it's just different.
Right. Yeah. And I think that was the hardest thing for me, because my personality too is very nurturing and like very caregiving and like advocate for people.
Yeah.
So, you know, I think some people would say maybe nosy or maybe a busybody sometimes, but I like to see people happy. And I think for me, happiness was part of my definition was having strong family ties and having parents, loving parents or in your life so much like mine are. And like you said, it's not right or wrong, it's just different.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with it being different. And you just have to be like, okay, this is right for me, but it's not right for them, and that's okay.
Anyway, but that's life, and that's what's interesting about life. We be able to see different paths, different experiences, and accept them and understand them as well. That's how I see. Next question is, what's your favorite TV show?
Ooh, right now, my favorite TV show is Abbott Elementary. I love that. I think I love comedies and I think that's so well done. And my mom works in a school, so I just love ever since it premiered, I was like, oh, this is so great. That and um, this is also on Hulu. Only Murders in the Building. Only Murders in the Building. It's with Steve Martin, Selena Gomez.
Yeah,
Um, it's it's funny and it's dramatic and stimulating. I like things that are stimulating and like make me invested to watch. So
amazing. Okay, it's not the end yet. Let's play now the word association game. Okay, I'm going to give away some words. Just tell one word that comes to your mind. Quick thinking.
okay,
Let's start with fear.
rejection,
Money.
budgeting,
Life.
uh, truth,
Love.
where,
I like that actually. Family.
everything,
Religion.
necessary,
Sex.
important,
Politics.
a mess,
Friendship.
crucial,
Desire.
uh, passion,
Regret.
many,
Success.
uh, relative,
Wish.
happiness,
And one word for happiness.
comfortable,
One word for Minneapolis.
cold.
Cold.
Yes.
One word for Minnesota.
Lakes. It's the land of 10,000 lakes, so that's what comes
Really?
to my mind. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Just made my
Yeah.
day now. My goodness, amazing. And the last one now, USA, one word.
Question mark.
Okay.
I just because I just think uh with everything that's going on here right now, I'm at a point where I'm not sure which direction we're going in, and it makes me a little concerned. And then I wanted to backtrack quick and say when you said religion, I said necessary. I think that sometimes can be very uh, touchy for people. So when I just want to clarify, when I say necessary, I'm not saying that like Christianity or a specific religion is necessary. I just think it's important for people sometimes to have some sort of spirituality or faith or some whatever it is. Um, you know, I've never pushed my beliefs on anyone. I wouldn't want anyone to do that to me. I've always said my relationship with God is my business, and
Absolutely.
everybody's relationship or non-relationship is their business. It's not for me to bring anybody to the river or anything like that. So I think when I say necessary, it's just, I think it's good to have something that you can believe in that's bigger than yourself.
Totally, and that's how I see as well. I think all of us, it's very personal. Yeah, it's very
Mhm.
personal. I think all of
Mhm.
us, we have this, as you said, it doesn't need to be connected with, you know, like again, a religion like itself. It could be
Mhm.
anything, something, as you said, something that brings you some peace somehow. That you
Right.
know, there's a connection, there is a belief, there is a something special. That's how I see. Let's pretend I'm going to meet your parents for a coffee, and I'm going to
Okay.
ask. I'm going to ask them. Define James in one positive word and one negative word only. What they would say.
Negative procrastinator.
Okay.
I sometimes uh, personally, I put with work, I'm the opposite, but personally with like things like I want to do or things that I want to strive for in my personal life, I
Procrastinate.
put those off, procrastinate. Positive, I would say he gives of himself to others.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I think that's both positive and negative because sometimes I do that or have in the past. I'm trying to be better right now. Have done it to the detriment of my own self or self-interest, helping, trying to put others and help others before myself. So,
Let's see. Okay. Let's play now, James, and the magic box, and you can ask me a question. Right. You can ask me a question now, James.
okay. Where do you see yourself 5 years from now?
Wow. Wow. I love a question a lot. I like the question at the same time as well. It's a very pressure question.
Yeah,
No
and
pressure.
because
I
it took
love
me
it.
a while because I know you're like, I get asked about the show a lot, so try to think of something else. So I was like, "Oh, what's a good one?" So that's why I wanted
Wow.
to be like,
Okay, I feel like in a job interview right now. Let's put myself properly. Joke. Okay, so where do you see? I would love to see myself in 5 years' time, literally traveling the world with the magic box. You know, I would love to be in 5 years' time meeting my guests in person, you know, to have a conversation, to have one-to-one, maybe a second interview that's, the different topics, different. I'd love to be traveling the world, not just that, but I'd love to be a full time, putting all my energy full time in the magic box. I already do
mm,
anyway, but I would love, and I can see myself, in 5 years' time, doing another projects as well that I have, connect with the magic box,
mhm,
implement new ideas that I have, a lot of things that's gonna make people even more excited about the show, about the experience,
mhm.
and I just in 5 years' time I see myself, if I'm already like exploding of energy doing the show, I'm going to be like, "Wow!"
That's great.
I think the world's gonna be small for me to be able to express the happiness, the joy, seeing people here on the show, connecting with other people, sharing
Mhm,
their experiences, and I think it's the biggest joy for me is no. So 5 years time, I would love to be able to be doing this, and also doing other projects as well that I've got connected with the magic box. So yeah,
mhm.
that's my goal. That's my energy in 5 years time.
Good. Yeah, I think this is a really great thing that you're doing, and to see it grow, I think would be great. I'm like you said, to meet people in person, or have you ever done interviews where you have more than one person like on a Zoom call and you like have a panel that you're talking to or things like that? I think that those are great recipes for great conversation and experiences that other people have.
If you could see my arm right now, I've got goosebumps everywhere. If you could feel it, if you could see, it's energy,
Yeah.
James. It's so powerful. Like you have no idea. I think being here. with someone that I never met before, being here with someone that, but for some reason we meant to be here right now doing this interview. As you beautifully said before, that, for you took time. And it's interesting you saying that, because through this journey, I realized as well, some people, they need their time, you know what I mean? They need their time to, and actually, I think it's a great time now, because I can see that you're ready for it, and you've been here, and you were so nice to share that as well. Because there are so many people as well, they sometimes they go like, oh, I'd love to do the show, and sometimes, oh, I'm not ready yet, or for different reasons. Sometimes they don't, take a time, they message me again. So I appreciate everyone who knows, for some reason, just take their time for the show, and in the right time, when they feel it's the right time.
And I felt that it was good to share that, because I think it's good for people to see that we all struggle with knowing when that time is, and to realize, for me, it's realizing that if I'm always going to have an excuse or reason to talk myself out of it.
Right.
But once I just need to do it to take away the option, because once that option is gone, then I'm living a better life.
Amazing. I love the way you express yourself, the way you think, and I totally understand. All of us, we have moments in our life that you're not ready for different things, and sometimes feel like, oh, actually, I'm ready right now. I think I can do it. It could be anything. I think all of us, we need to be ready for different periods of our lives, and sometimes takes time, sometimes quick, sometimes not, and that's how our lives works.
Right.
Before you go, if you can share a positive message or anything that you live by.
Sure. I think this relates to me now, since we talked about me being a procrastinator and sometimes struggling with personal goals. So this is a quote from Aristotle.
Okay.
We are what we repeatedly do. Excellence, then, is not an act, but a habit.
Wow. I really like that, actually.
Yeah, I know. I was like searching like inspirational quotes online, and I was trying to find something, and that one just really spoke to me, because I related to that so much. So
amazing. Again, thanks so much for taking the time for the interview. Thanks for being
yes.
And, I wish you all the best. And also send my regards to your parents, to your family. And it's so beautiful to see, a gay guy so close to their family, the way you are, they're being raised. Because, as you know, there are so many people, in the community that, for different reasons, they're not connected with their family, or not all of them. And to see someone like you, so genuine, talking the love for your family, the way you've been raised, and the so how grateful you feel about I think it's amazing. So thank you. Thanks so much for sharing that, and send my regards to your family. Okay.
I will. Thank you for this. This was really fun. And reach out again if you ever want like a panel, or if you need someone else for an interview or something. I totally love to do this again. I don't know why I was nervous about doing it before. This is great. So I hope you continued success with this. And
thank you so much. Thank you. Take care, okay? Enjoy your weekend, and keep in touch.
You too.
Okay?
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. So, did you like the show? Don't forget to give a like, share it, and also don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And if you'd like to be part of the show as well, first, subscribe to our channel, and after that, just go to our website, www.williamandthemagicbox.com, and send us a request saying why you'd like to be part of the show. And I see you there. Bye-bye. See you next time.